The New Jersey Transit leadership was in Hoboken Station yesterday to promote an initiative they call We Are Listening, with Amtrak work set to begin on June 17th that will cut back and divert service until September 6th on the Montclair-Boonton line, North Jersey Coast Line, and Morris and Essex line. Executive Director Kevin Corbett said he's here to listen and to directly communicate with commuters.
It is important for us to get out and be with the customers. A lot of people put things on social media, or you see stuff in the newspaper, or you're in a corner office and you don't really get a feel for what's going on unless you're really out interacting face to face. And you meet a lot of people who have a lot of positive suggestions. Some who have negative criticism, but you get it. And we digest that firsthand. It really helps us be in touch with what's going on for our customers.
So what are you hearing from the people you've spoken to so far?
Interesting. We're doing some schedule changes. Penn Station New York is having, Amtrak's doing some work on upgrading, repairing some of the switches in there. So that's going to have to cut back our service. Not nearly as bad as 2 years ago, where we had to divert 70 trains. This summer it'll be 5 trains in the morning, 5 trains in the afternoon. It's only 10 trains. But there's some schedule changes. So when we're telling people that, I think people are so heightened after a couple of some really rough years, last summer with PTC, that they're very anxious. So I think when we talk and explain what's happening, actually the feedback has been like, oh, that's all? So they're actually pretty relieved to hear that it's not really that significant compared to the last few summers.
NJ Transit has posted a webpage, njtransit.com/inform, with details of summer schedule changes, perhaps part of their effort for improved communication. I asked for his response to online comments.
Social media is a very small subset, and I think if you keep looking at the same 30 or 40 people, and if you go to a website that says "I hate New Jersey Transit with a passion" whatever, well, what do you think you're going to find there, right? I mean, that's just people vent. But I think for the average passenger, I think I get it. There's been a lot of frustration building up year after year, so there's that anxiety level, and I think the better we communicate, which I think we've improved, and as we're making investments and they start actually seeing improvements. One gentleman I just talked to said, the last 3 months he's really noticed an improvement. So I think when they get to feel that the improvements are in the right direction and they're going to be permanent, then they can just relax, pay their fare, go home or go to work. And I think that's what they want, and then we want to communicate to let them see the progress. So instead of being defensive, which I think historically we've been, and not communicative, we're working more on communicating and letting people know, and then they can make decisions based on what they know.
Corbett provided an update about positive train control, a safety system required by the Federal Railroad Administration.
When I came into the job, last February, late February, March, we were only 12% done, and we were really in risk of being shut down, particularly on the Northeast Corridor, because we wouldn't be compliant with federal law. So that was an existential threat, and we worked like crazy, put a new team together, focused on just making sure we got that project done. And we had a lot of pain for our customers, but now we are compliant with the FRA, and you hear about other railroads having problems, and we're now in a good place to be completed by 2020.
The executive director also addressed the shortage of locomotive engineers.
We need about 400 engineers is when we're really solid, where we don't have to worry about any cancellations due to vacations and everything else, sick days, whatever. And last year we were down to about 335, and we just had a class graduate. We started it's a very tough program, like becoming an airline pilot, but we started a program as soon as I got in. We had the first 12 graduate just last week, and now we have, starting in September, October, November, we're having continual classes. So as we get up to the 370, 380, the closer we get to 400, the less and less pressure, and certainly by the end of this year, we'll be in a good spot, and by spring next year, we'll be in a fantastic spot.
Why is that? Is it so hard to recruit candidates? Is it just finding people with the right knowledge or just...
The two things. One is not that hard if you do it properly. I mean, we were cut. Our budget was cut for years. We weren't able. We had a hiring freeze, salary freeze, so we weren't able to recruit. Now we're able to offer. We have good salaries. We have good benefits. And it was just a matter of going out there, recruiting, working with technical colleges, looking at, really doing an active recruiting program. The other thing is the legislator waived the requirement that you had to be a New Jersey resident, because we have yards in New York, upstate New York, and Long Island, and down in Pennsylvania, across Morrisville. So we now can get a wider pool of people, and we have very good. We had over 500 applicants. So and then it's getting the best quality. It's a demanding job, a lot of science actually behind it.
So, did everybody who joined, and I'm sorry if this was already out, I don't know the answer, so I'm just telling you straight out, I don't know the answer. Did everybody who started finish?
No, it's a bit like the military, like the Naval Academy, in that, you know, it used to be in the old days when you got down in your plebe year, you know, to be the man on your left, the man on the right. One of them's not going to be here, you know, after your first year. And a lot of that was the culture in the rail, and we've changed it. We want to help you just like the Naval Academy now. You know, it's you want to get the highest graduation rate and help them. You don't lower the standards, still very demanding, but we really focus on trying to get the highest graduation rate. But there still is usually you know, about a third of the class never completes it by the end.
2/3 made it.
Yeah.
The graduates are actually still fulfilling field training requirements to complete the 78-week training period. I wanted to know if improving the dissemination of information via social media is a priority.
Very much so, and I think with the information, one thing we did just recently do was get the push notifications out. So if you're going to, you know, Morristown, you know, you push it and it gives you all the trains, all the news. You know, they'll push it out even without you looking at your app. But the other thing is how to improve our website, and we have a new IT director working with Anthony in the communications department to really look to make it, you know, not just a good transit app, a government app, but really be a competitive app and a competitive website to the best of any transit company.
Commuters say they're looking for improvement. Kevin Cerezo calls NJ Transit, quote, essential. The 21-year-old college student from North Bergen has a full-time job.
I think it's great, but honestly, sometimes it's pretty much like it's either a hit and miss, like I missed the train, or it'll never come until like half an hour, and then there's a lot of delays, you know, just being honest here, there's a lot of delays, there's a lot of people just doing what they're not supposed to be doing on the trains too. You know, there's a lot of hooligans and they're always, you know, messing around. But other than that, the service is great, you know. I never had a complaint with anybody. I wish it would be a little bit faster, and I wish it could be, you know, to help the people instead of like, oh, you got to get this ticket, or I'm going to give you a ticket. I don't know. It's just mostly when it comes to that.
When you're talking about, you just said hooligans in the train. Can you be more specific? Where and what kind?
Well, there's always like kids that want to be on the rails, and they try to skate it, you know, like just regular have fun monkey business in a way. And there's usually nobody to patrol it, and there's usually nobody there to stop, you know. It happens usually in the nighttime when I come back, because I come back like at 8 p.m. And it usually happens in the morning, which is crazy, because in the morning it's like they're calm, but they're not so calm, and people hop the train a lot. Nobody pays for tickets. Like it's this.
You mean when you said people skateboard? You mean in the train or on the tracks outside?
Yeah, like on the tracks and in the train. They go everywhere. It says there's nobody to watch them. You know, there's no one to tell them anything, and people just mind their business. You know.
And where do you usually see that problem?
Port Authority. You know, like Port Imperial. That's usually when I see it, and there's the one before it. Not West Side. It's the other one. Lincoln Harbor. That's the one.
A lot of people your age ride as frequently as you?
Oh, yes, because, you know, cars are pretty much expensive, insurance is expensive, so they think that this is a more economic way of going about to travel, you know.
A lot of your schoolmates also ride
Yeah, a lot, yeah. I mostly see some of my classmates right now, they're coming back and, hey, how are you? You know, it's beautiful, but just the protection, that's all. I just wish that there was more security. That's pretty much it.
I come from Northwest Jersey, so I'm either on the Montclair Booten or the Morris Essex, and typically our only problems is when there's a pedestrian strike. But over the last 2 years, service has been going downhill, whether there's not enough trains, cars on the train, whether it's raining inside of the train, like it's leaking through the roof, or there's no restrooms. We've recently had more impact where there haven't been enough train crew for the trains to go out, and trains have just been canceled. We've also had a lot more problems where trains just break down. 2 mornings ago, my train got there, and I got on the train, and it couldn't go any further because it just died. Things are usually on time. That's not usually one of our issues. It's been more that things have just broken down and stopped, or that the train just doesn't exist, that the train is just canceled.
I start in Montvale, New Jersey, and I end up in Hoboken every single day, and it's a struggle. I have to say I'm happy when I see the trains show up, and I'm happy to arrive safely in Hoboken. I've been riding New Jersey Transit for approximately 20 years, the Pascack Valley line, and I would classify the service by New Jersey Transit as absolutely deplorable. Service has gone downhill over the last 8 years of my commute more than any other time that I've been riding the trains. Consistent issues. We have canceled trains. We have overcrowding. We have standing room only. We have man shortage issues. We have old dirty trains. Absolutely horrible. It's made the commute getting to New York absolutely horrible. Every single day is a struggle. They generally leave lots of extra time to get to work. Trains are late. We miss connections into Manhattan. Overcrowding issues. It's tough to get through the corridors to the PATH train because we go single file right now. Also out to the ferry. Just very, very tough, and you need to leave lots and lots of extra time to get to work. My response to Kevin Corbett, the executive director of New Jersey Transit, and Stuart Motter would be that a $25 million increase in operating expenses is not going to cover the revenue needed to improve New Jersey Transit, not the least. There are widespread systemic problems with New Jersey Transit, with the light rail and with the bus systems, with aging trains and no capital improvements to the system. We are in trouble. And the true summer of hell is about to happen when we start bringing in 2 other lines which will be diverted from New York Penn Station into Hoboken, which is under construction. The roof's under construction from the train crash that happened on September 29th of 16. It took them 2 years to address that. And now it's going to coincide with the summer of hell. Hoboken's going to be absolutely horrible to walk through. My message to Governor Murphy is he ran on a platform that he would fix the system. And if he can't fix the system, I'll guarantee he'll be a one-term governor because the voters will get out and we're upset, we're angry, and we're on social media and we're all talking.
NJ Transit riders described their priorities for improving the system.
I want to feel safe when I'm waiting for the bus. You know, I want to feel safe when I'm waiting for the train. And I don't feel sometimes that, there's always like protection around me. And I do feel that I'm on my own when I'm alone waiting 30 minutes for a train. And it just, gets dangerous sometimes, especially around the North Hudson area.
And especially you say you're a nighttime rider.
Yeah.
Make sure there's enough cars for the amount of people that usually take the trains. Do something about your recruiting so that you've got enough people to man the trains. I know that that's a long-term thing. It's not a quick turnaround, but they've got to do something about recruiting for it. And look at the quality of what you've got inside your cars, because for it to rain inside cars and people can't sit in seats because they're getting rained on is not wise. It's not a solid business practice.
Aging equipment. We need new trains. The trains are 30 years old. They're breaking down a lot. Cleanliness. The trains are absolutely disgusting and filthy. And I would say we need to improve on-time performance. I don't care what type of surveys that they've rolled out. The performance is absolutely horrible on the system. I do use their app for tickets. And I could say that's probably the only thing that actually works well for New Jersey Transit. The app is acceptable.
As for Corbett, he concluded by calling on what could possibly be called the power of the people.
We really do need people, knock us when we do something wrong, that's fine. But we also need people out advocating for funding for us. Because the healthcare industry, you go to when the governor gives his budget speech, you'll have thousands of people with signs, Save Our School. There's not a single person there with a sign saying Save Our Transit System. So, we only get half our revenue through the fare box. The other has to come from state support. And, it takes, hundreds of millions of dollars for these rail cars, for engines, for track improvements, everything, for new buses. So that takes money to bring our average fleet down to a level where it's, we can have good service, reliable equipment. It takes an investment. So we need people to also, they criticize us, that's fine, but we also need them to advocate for us as well.
How much? Do you have a number?
As I told one legislator, they said, how much do you need? I said, how much do you have?
Exactly how much does New Jersey have to give? budget discussions are in progress. Reporting from Hoboken Terminal, Cesar Darius.